line with a recruit. So I was preoccupied a little bit. I apologize.
No problem. We will just jump right in, Coach, and get some questions from the group here. We'll begin with Julian Menenson, KEZI.
Kelly, it seemed obviously for years that you knew what you were getting out of your big three, but with being shorthanded, is it going to be one of those things where it's going to take a different person kind of every night until, like you said, the cavalry comes back?
And the win the other night proved just that. Sidney Parrish carried us in the first half with 18, and I think Sedona got 18 in the second half. So yeah, we two players that we hoped were going to step up, they did. But I think in that game in particular, I think the rest of the crew outside of those two only scored 12, 15 points. So we've got to get more contributions across the board. But I think these are the last two games until we at least get one of those three back, and maybe even a second. So we'll see. But yeah, we've just got to survive these two. Everybody step up, and there you go.
James Crepia, the Oregonian.
Finally, some good news on the personnel front, Kelly, with Taylor cleared. One, you mentioned she had been practicing with the guys, obviously, since she was what she was from an eligibility standpoint. How far along is she in terms of just understanding of the system, given that role she had, and how do you envision being able to use her on Saturday?
Well, she's practicing with the team. I mean, when we scrimmage against the guys each day, we actually put her on their team, but she's comfortable with what we're running. James, what she can do is, she's really good inside. She's good outside. She's very patient player, good on the boards, just a pretty solid all around player, and so I think she'll give us a good presence as well. But there's not any one thing she does like phenomenally better than anybody else. She just is a pretty solid all around player. So we can just kind of plug her in inside or outside. But I noticed that she was down there shooting about an hour before practice. So that's a good, she's really excited. I know our team's excited to have her back.
We'll go back to Julian.
Kelly, can you give a scouting report on Long Beach State?
Well, they're good. They're 7-0, and the teams they've beaten are good. I watched, to their games, and, they're athletic. They switch up their defenses. They run about 5, 6, 7 different defenses. And, they feed off live ball turnovers. They're really good in transition. So we're going to have to take care of the ball. I'm glad that we actually played against Portland last game because they pressured the ball as well. We did well against it in the first half, not so well in the second, but at least we'll be have had seen that kind of a defense. And then they spread the wealth a little bit. They have a bunch of different players that can score in double figures on any given night, led by Maddie Udy. She's from Seaside, so a good local player, Mountain West Player of the Year 2 years ago, left Fresno State and is now at Long Beach. So, she's a real frontline, really good player. But Coach Cameron does an awesome job. I really like him. He's one of my favorite coaches, and they're going to have their team ready.
Back to James.
We certainly talked about it for like the last season plus, Kelly, about like just the personalities in the room and the way the locker room's composed and those sorts of things. I realize you obviously had the win over Portland since the UC Davis game, but trying to understand, like even ahead of this one with Long Beach, of how much do you think your room understands, or do they, other than just the next game, the next scout, the next opponent, the numbers and the metrics and what that means versus, saying a Long Beach even in this next game where they're 52nd, but they could be a top 50 opponent, and what that may mean and those things. Do you think your room now understands that?
No, because we don't really dwell on it. We just, next game, let's just prepare and play this game best we can. I haven't really even looked at any of that stuff. It's funny, just anecdotally here, last night, Washington State gets a really good road win at at Gonzaga, and that was good for the conference. James, I know last time we talked about we needed quality wins. That's a good quality win for the conference. And somebody today said, hey, boy, Washington State's playing really well. And I don't even care because we don't even play them till the last weekend of the season. So it's like, well, I'm not even worried about that. So much can change on our team and theirs between now and then. So so I look at the analytics and all the data and RPIs and that kind of stuff, but I haven't really much yet. I know our team doesn't. We just need to go out and get a good win, and the Long Beach game will be a good win. We're 0-1 against Big West, so we got some work to do. And then really what we're playing with right now is not the team we're going to have in February and March, and that's what long term what I'm most concerned about.
Julian, you're back up.
What makes Maddie so good at affecting the game that's beyond the stat sheet?
Yeah, she's just really solid. It starts with her defense. She's really our most important defender. She's the one that stops the ball in transition. She's the point defensively. She'll draw the toughest assignment. So she's really more effective on that side of the ball. And probably a lot of people don't notice that as much. She's not the kind of kid that's going to get 10 steals. She's not super quick that way. She's just really solid and anchors the defense. And then offensively, she's doing more than she probably should right now. She needs some running mates back with her, but again, she's solid. I know she's had some tough turnover games, but I just wish she was more offensive minded, less unselfish. I think she passes up a lot of shots. We've encouraged her to take that little mid-range off the ball screen. And I think she's looking to do it more now. She just has to have confidence in it to go down for her. But I just love her work ethic. She's at practice every day. I know she's hurt sometimes, but she has not missed a practice. She comes in early, she leaves late. She's just one of those really good program kids.
Jared Mack, 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach, just wondering if there's any updates on for injury updates on Sabali, Paopao, or Rogers.
Yeah, neither will be playing in our homestand, but there is a chance that we get both of them back. Definitely India for our Midwest trip. Kansas, I think she'll be cleared to practice by the 15th, maybe the 16th, and then we play on the 18th. So she'll have a couple of practices under her belt at Kansas State. So she'll play on that trip, and then there's a chance that Niara will too. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed. And good news comes in threes. We got good news yesterday from the NCAA, and now we need two more. Anybody got some good news?
You have any more questions for Coach? All right, Coach. Oh, we got one more.
Thanks. I think Sydney's going to be here with you.
We got one more for you, Coach. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go.
One pop up. We got.
Sorry, Kelly, didn't mean to sneak that in at the last minute. Thank you for your time, though. Just so, given that you said this isn't what your team is going to look like at the end of the season, it might not even look the same like 3 weeks from now when people are coming back. How does that change the way you approach the team in terms of coaching, in terms of improving these girls individually?
Well, it's kind of been hit and miss. We've actually this week, you guys had pretty much every player on the team miss practice at some point because they've been sick. The flu's been going around, and you know how that happens in a team. One person gets it, and then pretty soon their roommates get it, and then the rest of the team gets it, and it's kind of been through. So I'll tell you, the last couple of weeks, you guys, has been crazy in terms of practice. Thank God we've had practice guys. Otherwise, we couldn't go 5-on-5. That happens. That's what happens during the year. That's why it's kind of crazy sometimes to get your head around what's really going on. I don't know what's going to happen when we have all 13 players eligible and back and ready to go. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. But we haven't, been able to see that yet. But no, I haven't changed my coaching at all, to be honest with you. And, we're not really running anything different. We tried to during the island trip, and that obviously didn't work out so well. But now as we've gotten players back, we've basically stuck with the same things that we wanted to run and will run for the rest of the year. Defensively is where we have to make, continued improvement and adjustments. And I think we did. I thought the game against Portland, you guys, that's going to end up, James, I know you're into this, but that's going to end up being, I think, a pretty good win, a road win at Portland. May not look glamorous right now, but I think in the end, it'll be a good quality win for us. Hey, Sydney's here, you guys. She's the star of the show, so I'll let her go. Okay.
Thanks, Coach.